So this is a 2022 question. It's a simple data sufficiency problem. It gives us a statement and the statement asks us a question. So this is the question and we need to find out whether I can answer this question by using this statement or both of these statements together. Okay, so if, that is what we need to find out here. So to determine whether a number is an integer, if I am told that x by 3 is not an integer and 3x is an integer, can I definitely conclude that x would be an integer in that case. So let's take a very simple example. Let's take an example of 1 by 3. So 1 by 3 is definitely not an integer. It's not an integer. However, both of these conditions remain true for 1 by 3. If you notice, right? Why? Because 1 by 9 is also not an integer. And 3x, which means that 3 into 3, which is 3 into 1 by 3, which is 1, is an integer. So for 1 by 3, these two conditions come out to be correct. Okay, these two conditions come out to be correct. But 1 by 3 is actually not an integer. It is not an integer. We know that it's a real number. It's a fraction. Therefore, this particular data sufficiency problem, what will we say? We will say that these two statements, even when taken together, are not sufficient to answer the problem statement which is given here at the top. Okay, because by both, if I know the answer to both of those questions, I still cannot definitely say whether x is an integer or not. Okay, because I can come up with cases where I started with a fraction where x is a fraction and then these two statements become correct. I can also start with an integer, right? So I start with 1. In that case, 1 by 3. So let's take x is equal to 1. Here we took x is equal to 1 by 3. In that case, the two numbers are 1 by 3, which is not an integer. So this statement becomes correct. And 3x, which is 3, is an integer. Yes, that is also correct. Okay, so no matter whether I start with an integer or whether I start with a fraction, in both of those cases these two statements become correct. These two statements become true. So therefore, by just using these two statements, I cannot conclude whether my original number is an integer or not. Okay, so that was a data sufficiency.